Welcome to the Asian Women of Power podcast, where your host, Kimchi Chow, shares tips, tools, insights, and strategies on how you too can create the life you love with freedom, power, and choice. Kimchi will show you how to break free of your cultural boundaries and boldly live the life of your dreams. If you are ready to transform your life, please go to www.asianwomenofpowerquiz.com and take the quiz. You may qualify for a free discovery session with Kimchi. And now, here's your host, Kimchi Chow.
Welcome to the Asian Women of Power podcast. I'm glad that you are here with us today. In a moment, you will meet our guest panel and get to know them better. I believe you will find their story fascinating and inspiring. So stay tuned. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Asian Women of Power podcast and Asian Women of Power YouTube channel. We believe that our messages and stories are worth to share, so that you don't feel that you are alone. This is my way to empowering you and the Asian community to speak up, stand up, and show up powerfully and confidently. So let's get started. Anita, tell us who you are and what leads you to do what you do now.
Hi, Kimchi. I'm Anita Chan. I own Anita B Spa, which is a skincare spa in San Francisco, and started the business mainly just to help myself and help others in realizing their own beauty. So that's what I do.
Thank you. Mandy?
Hi, Kimchi. I'm Mandy, and I'm a new mom, and I'm also a new founder of a company called Goboba Green. It's an eco-friendly online bubble tea company. I was born in Hong Kong, and when I was 7 years old, my mom decided to upend her life and move us over to New York for me to have a chance at a better education. I founded Goboba Green because I wanted to share my love for bubble tea with the world and also raise awareness on what single-use plastic pollution is doing to the environment.
That is so cool. Do you have something to share with us, Mandy, later on? You can run if you have it ready. If, otherwise it's okay. You can run and show us the packaging and
Of course, yeah. I would love to show you what the box looks like.
Okay, thank you. Joraine?
Hi, Kimchi. How are you?
Good.
So my name is Joraine Costales, and I am a Bay Area realtor. I'm one half of a husband and wife team, but even as a solo agent, ranked in the top half of 1% of all realtors in the United States out of 1.4 million realtors. I'm a mother of 3 and an active member in our church and our community. So that's what I do.
Wonderful. So Anita, spas.
Yes.
Spas. Oh, spa is, I think most of us, we, especially women, right? We love to have, to be to get pamper for ourselves.
Yes, definitely.
To get massage, to have a skincare and beauty and things like that. As the owner, do you have that for yourself? Do you do that frequently for yourself?
Yes, definitely. Not only just for personal well-being, of course, but to research as well. So I love whenever I travel. I used to be a flight attendant for Cathay Pacific, and that allowed me to travel around the world to check out all the different spas. I believe that every culture treats beauty and wellness a little bit differently. For obvious reasons like ethnicity, which is tied to how we treat skin, but just to really be able to see what's out there and bring together all the different amazing treatments and products so that we can serve our clients in a much wider range, because especially in the US, we are a melting pot of different ethnicities. So it's important to be able to have that knowledge for our clients, definitely. But just for women and men nowadays, society is very stressful, so it's important to really have that balance. That's really a key thing that I stress for all of my clients and my friends and family, is to have balance in life.
So when people talking about spas, do they talk about overall the whole complete, care, like facial massage, but the body massage, foot and nail, and things like that.
Yeah, so that's really the growing trend, not only in spa industry, but wellness has become a huge key term nowadays because to feel the mind and body now, not only just for vanity, not only just do my nails look good, does my skin look good, but that time that you get with your esthetician or your hairstylist that you've built a relationship with. We are just in such a digital society now, and how we communicate is all through technology. So part of the reason why I decided to be in the industry I'm in and stay in it is because that human to human touch is so important, that human to human interaction, just those conversations, and just honestly being in a room with somebody rather than communicating through the computer screen or the phone. So it's all wellness rather than just vanity nowadays. Yeah.
So would one day enough to get the whole body done?
I wish. I always say that, I wish I could be a miracle worker and one day I can make somebody, feel the best that they ever can. But, we are working with the human body. And as we know, just like working out, just like anything else that we need to build, it takes time. It's a lifestyle. It's not something that you can go in one day and be a changed person. I really work on developing that lifestyle with clients. I don't want to add more stress into their life and making it like a competition of what they see on the TV screen or on social media, but really truly work with how their lifestyle is and how to fit wellness and beauty into their busy lifestyle as it is, so that they can really speak up, stand up, and show up. What you said, be truly who they are and feel good about doing it.
Wow, so wonderful.
The beauty and wellness industry could be a little bit of a rabbit hole if you really go into it. Hair can be a full day event, so if we have the luxury to do everything in one day, I'm sure you can achieve great things. But when I really try to bridge together beauty and wellness, it can go from meditation in the morning to getting your hair done, to getting a massage, to a whole plethora of things. So one day, yes, you can get probably what's necessary, but there are retreats, there are spa retreats where people go to where they spend a whole week of doing all of these treatments. So it's really up to what works for your lifestyle. If you can only fit it in for one day, or if you have the luxury of taking 1 week off to do it, that's even more amazing.
Yeah. Why don't you start it, Anita? Start the local retreat and let me know.
It's fascinating because when I go to countries like Asia and Europe, women, families, they bring their children. Like in Korea, they bring their children to spa, and it's really a lifestyle that they start to incorporate at a young age, and it's something that is quite important. Unfortunately, here in the US, we see it as a luxury, as a leisure, and so it's not focused on as much. So that's really kind of one of my priorities, is to expose that to the US culture as well. To taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of anything else that you need to take care of, either business, your children, friends, family. So you got to take care of yourself first, right?
Yes, absolutely. Mandy, why boba? I know the boba, when we think about boba, we know that's Asian stuff. So why boba?
Yeah, so I feel like boba is just something that connects, a lot of Asians, right? It's just over the years become very integral to the Asian identity. It's, there's bubble tea, or boba is like a more fun version of tea, and tea just has a long history in Asian culture. So I first fell in love with bubble tea when I was a teenager, during like the first wave of the boba trend in the US. And during the last couple of months of my pregnancy, my husband and I were trying to, spend as much time together before our baby came and would disrupt, our life. And we rediscovered our love for boba because we started, eating out a lot, and it just brought back a lot of great memories, from our high school days. And nowadays it's great that boba's kind of become a little bit more mainstream, and it's, brought a lot of interest into our culture from other people. And it's just a fantastic way of connecting people because, it's such a fun beverage and, tasty and delicious and, fun to experience. So I think that boba is just such a great way to connect people. People have memories of, dating where boba plays a pivotal role. And I think it's just a lot of fun to be able to bring people that way.
So boba is okay for adults to consume, right?
Mhm.
But not safe for for children because they might get choked, correct?
Well, it definitely depends on the age. I think in general, it's not recommended for children under age of 3. You definitely want to make sure for children that they're supervised when they're consuming boba because of the pearls. But I do know that a lot of parents, especially my age, like millennials, that are fond of boba, we're excited to introduce it to our children. I can't wait to, pass it on to my daughter when she's older than 3 years old.
And you share that the way that you create the product is that this is basically the idea to support people who does not live in the Asian community. That's too far to try a boba tea, right? So that's your intention.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Right? Mm-hmm. So what's in your product?
So I currently make DIY bubble tea kits. So inside there's pre-made boba that you cook for 25 minutes, and it gives you a really nice texture and quality that you would find in the higher or the boba places that you would prefer. Because the texture of the boba is so important to the drink. So we have a packet of that, and it makes 8 servings of the drink, each kit. So we also have 2 types of loose leaf tea because, something that I also care about is the quality of the boba, right? Like a lot of bubble tea shops are opening because it's become so popular, but some places, offer kind of like 3-in-1 instant powder, and that's not really what you want to be putting into your body. So I kind of also want to bring attention to the art of bubble tea, bring it back to more of quality, so loose leaf tea. And then I have a recipe booklet that talks a little bit about the history of bubble tea so that people can learn a little bit more about what they're drinking, a little bit about, why it is and how it's become what the phenomenon that it's become, along with the recipe, and then also 2 reusable stainless steel straws because we do want to promote the eco-friendly aspect of this product as well, because current industry of boba just does have an environmental impact.
Yeah, I see that the standard size of straw, it's a small size, right? But boba straw has to be big so that the boba can get through. So you have a big size of stainless steel. Okay. All right. So the sweetening and the milk is depend on the
Yeah,
user.
and that's one of the perks of making it yourself, right? You kind of can customize it to exactly your taste. I was talking to a friend who, used to love boba, but she went vegan and she couldn't trust like the ingredients in the boba stores anymore. So she says that she misses it. And then I told her, well, you could try my boba because, it's made out of tapioca starch. It's gluten-free and vegan. And then you can have control of what you're actually putting in your body in addition to, what type of milk you want to add to it and how much sugar.
Oh, that's wonderful. I want to try it. You know what? Do you ship to France?
I actually do. Yeah.
You do? Okay. I will introduce that to my son who's
Oh.
living in France right now. And he used to love boba drink when he was living in United States. I'll let him know. All right. Joraine,
Yes.
tell us what led you. Yeah, so you say that you are number one realtor in in your
Office. Yes. In our
office
office.
or organization,
Yes.
right? How did you do that?
Um, Definitely by learning a lot from other people's mistakes, I guess you could say. I've been in real estate since 2004. And so this was pre recession, pre the bubble bursting. And so I started actually as a receptionist on the back end when everyone was buying and investing in real estate back then and getting their license. And a lot of people are not around now, a lot of banks and a lot of people lost their homes to foreclosure. And so during that time, I was very cautious. And so I didn't get my license right away. I started as a receptionist, and quickly I just kept getting promoted and promoted. Every 90 days, it's like I was getting a new job position within the company. And so eventually I worked my way up, and I learned how to do so many things up until the point where I was managing real estate offices all over the Bay Area and traveling and training agents and reviewing contracts and just learning a lot on the back end that I feel prepared me so that when it was time for me to get my license and be on a team or be an assistant to a top producing agent and eventually start my own team, I was very well prepared, and I had already been exposed to a lot of situations, and I kind of knew what to do, what not to do, the type of agent that I wanted to be and the model that I wanted to have for my business. Whereas a lot of people kind of just start something new and have no frame of reference and have no idea what to do. And so I think definitely preparing myself and taking that time to prepare to the point where I couldn't prepare anymore and I just had to go out and do it, really helped launch me into getting really great results and achieving success in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think the advantage of you starting slow from the bottom is that you see the whole picture of an operation, right?
Yes.
Whereas most realtor out there, they just say, "Hey, I want to sell house. I want to get commission," and they take the test and the license, and then they have no idea how to communicate. How to lead a person, like how to get how to serve, right? How to serve a client, right, from the beginning to the end, right? You you said you are the team. You are half team of two. You and your
Right.
husband in a
Correct.
team is, and you say that your husband is somebody who joined later because you asked him to help you or to support you to join later. So you are the big boss.
Yes.
is there is there a challenge, or there must be a lot of challenges to be a boss in the business? Do you
Oh,
feel
yes. Yes.
share with us what kind of challenge it is, and how do you manage that?
So we discovered very early on that we had to make some adjustments in our business or even in our relationship as a husband and wife if we were going to be able to be successful and work together, because we had served together in church and we're very family oriented, so we're great on a personal level. But when it came to business, there was definitely some lines that we crossed very early on, that we knew that if we were going to be successful, we couldn't treat each other like husband and wife. We had to operate as business professionals and treat it like a business, which it is. And so, just having that intimate relationship, and this could be with any family member that you're working with, there's a level of comfort. And so you can be really honest, but sometimes too honest, and that could easily offend someone. And so one thing that we had to work on in the very beginning was identifying our roles so that we weren't stepping on each other's toes and I wasn't undermining him and he wasn't taking advantage of me as his boss. And so just even treating each other with respect, which sounds very simple and very basic, but when you are working with someone who you are so close with, I would get frustrated and speak to him a certain way, or he would get frustrated and speak to me a certain way. And we said early on, okay, if I'm going to be your boss, you need to respect me as your boss, and you need to speak to me just as you would with any other manager. And you can't say some of those things to me because you would never say that to any other manager and you would be fired, right? And so, and vice versa. I would be training him and I would get frustrated. And I said I would never get frustrated at an assistant or another trainee this way. So I had to learn how to be patient and kind of reel those things in so that it is said, with love and with care and respect and at the appropriate time.
That's so valuable insight. I think that's why most of the time, a couple is better off not to work with each other because
Right,
especially especially the woman is the boss. It's like the role reverse, right? At home,
right.
we basically he's like he feel that he's in charge, but at work we are in charge. So it's really hard to switch back and forth.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah.
And with us, we work so hard. We basically work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This morning, we were awake at 3 a.m. getting ready for our open houses and our appointments today. And so we could be in bed at midnight talking about real estate. And so it's also hard for us sometimes to identify when does the work hat come off and when are we a husband and wife again. And so that's something we also had to navigate early on, and that we find as a challenge is, stopping work at certain times and taking time for us as a husband and wife, and spending time with our kids and working out or cooking and just doing some of those domestic duties that we don't always have time to do. And yeah, like exactly, Kimchi, you hit the nail on the head when you say it's a challenge, because I honor and respect my husband as the man of our house and as our leader, and I want to serve him as his wife. Um, and then when it comes to work, it's like, hey, you got to listen to me. Stop taking advantage of me. I asked you to do something, do it, and so it is hard to kind of shift between those roles, but we work through it, and we have lots of love and grace and patience for each other, which is, I think, a very important thing as well.
Absolutely. So let's get back to Anita. Anita, what were the biggest challenges that you had faced and overcame in your life?
Oh, in my life. That's a big question. I didn't expect that. In my life, so I'm first generation, born in the US from immigrant parents. And part of why I chose to be in the beauty wellness industry is, as I mentioned, different cultures have different beliefs of what beauty is. So I was born naturally more tan than what Asian culture believes as beautiful. My nickname was Chocolate Baby. And so, growing up in America, born and raised in America, especially in California, being tan is beautiful, and so really kind of struggled between what is considered beautiful and, is beauty something I should look towards somebody else or something else, and so growing up being a shy girl and having probably low self-esteem, being brought up in two different cultures, that was something that I had to work through and really discover the belief of my own beauty, and how to create what I believe is beautiful for myself, and then of course, sharing that with other people. And then, besides that, the stereotypical Asian immigrant mom, which is the tiger mom, not believing that beauty is a career is, that's something that I fought through my entire life, and probably only up until now that I have my business. I've been in the industry for 16 years, that she's like, okay, I think she's kind of serious about this, but, if it wasn't, accounting or medical, being in the medical field or lawyer, that's not a profession, like why would you want to get into something that's considered a hobby or, so I would say that was definitely a hurdle in my choice in my profession and career path. But, I'm glad I stuck with it and truly had this, was blessed with realizing my passion at an early age and powered through it. So.
Yeah, share with us that at the time that you had to create your own major
Yes.
from school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got into the beauty wellness industry at the age of 14. I know that sounds crazy young, but as a summer job, I started working at Bare Essentials. And so when I decided to continue on in the industry that I was in, just getting my aesthetics license just wasn't enough. My mom would never have allowed that for me to not continue on getting a degree in a university. So as I sat down to look at the different majors out there, I just felt like nothing spoke to me. Nothing, studied wellness, nothing studied beauty, and so I decided to create my own major. Luckily, San Francisco State University had a program where it's called a special major program, and you are able to put together a major that you believe in and write a thesis paper ultimately to show not only the chair of each department of the majors that you want to study, but the dean of the university, why you want to do something that's not already written. So I had to write the curriculum. And my major is called Fundamentals of Self-Image, which is a combination of marketing, speech communication, and psychology. And really having to show how do I pull all of those different studies to showcase what I want to really learn and understand, which is fundamentals of self-image. Why do we speak a certain way? Why do we present ourselves in a certain way? Why do we choose a certain style of fashion? Why do we choose a certain lifestyle? So it took me a little bit longer than the average college career path, but it was tough, but I'm so glad I did it. It's helped me out in so many different aspects of my life. And so, I highly suggest it, but now when you go to the San Francisco State University curriculum, you can flip to the end of the book and find my major, and whoever wants to study that, you can study it now. So.
And it is called Fundamental of Self-Image?
Exactly. Fundamentals of Self-Image. It's a BA in Fundamentals of Self-Image.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. If I have time, I probably want to take that that major.
It's fun. It's really, really fun.
Yeah. Do they offer it offline? I mean, online?
Oh, wow. It's been so long since I graduated. I don't, I didn't look into that because at that time, studying online is, I think, still kind of new. And so I don't know if they implemented that yet, but I'm sure they do now, because what you really do is you pull different courses from each different major. And you just have to show how they correlate with each other. So for like psychology, for example, it was like health psychology. For communication, it was nonverbal communication. So how does that all play together? So I'm sure now, I'm sure you can.
Thank you. Mandy, what were your biggest challenge that you have faced and overcame in your life?
So this is a challenge that I am still overcoming because I would say it's believing in myself and having the confidence to pursue what I really want to. So I'm a first generation immigrant. So I was born in Hong Kong and moved here. And, my mom has or how should I say? Okay, so I, kind of follow like the typical American dream path, right? Like all my life growing up, I just wanted to make my mom proud and pay her back for everything that she's done for me. So the way to do that in my head is kind of this narrow definition where you attend the best schools possible, study really hard, and then you come out of school, graduate, go into corporate, climb up the ladder. retire at 65 or 72 or whatever it is now, and then get a chance to kind of like really relax and enjoy life. So that was the path that I grew up thinking I was supposed to follow. But then once I came out of college and started working, while I enjoyed it, I just always felt like I wanted to make the world better, have more of an impact with what I'm doing with my career. And I wasn't able to find it in, the jobs that I was working at. So it took me a really long time to take the step into entrepreneurship, because it's, first of all, entrepreneurship is just super scary, right? It's all about taking risks. Like you don't, there is no playbook. You don't know like whether you're going to succeed or fail. It's all on you, which is both the scary part and the fun part. So it took me a while to get to this point where I could say like, yes, I believe in myself enough to be able to do this. And now I'm here working, at achieving my own dreams.
That's wonderful. Yep. Entrepreneur is it's like riding a boat, right? Sometimes or what's it called?
Like a rocket ship.
Yeah, rocket ship or whatever. The go up and down.
Oh, the roller coaster.
The roller coaster. Yeah. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's so scary because it's like you are constantly doubt yourself, right?
Yeah.
When you see the reject,
Mm-hmm.
and reject can come every single minute, right? So
Yeah.
one day, like in the morning, I say, oh, I feel great about myself, I believe in my mission, and then like the next hour somebody say no. Am I doing the right thing? Why should I do this?
Mm-hmm.
It's better to go back to work,
Right.
like
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah, and that's what I've learned, that failure is absolutely like the best teaching experience, and something that I was once super afraid of failing, like even from my school days, right? Like taking exams or like getting into a certain school, like you really kind of, in the school system, you're kind of taught to be scared to fail, unfortunately. And what I've come to learn now is that failure is more like a friend, and a great teacher. And I'm actually more like excited to face my failures now, because I feel like the only thing barring me from success are failures. So let's get on with it, and we'll learn and try and fail and do it again.
Yes, absolutely. If you embrace the failure as your friend, then nothing can stop you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's confronting the fear.
Right.
It's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not hiding, or not hiding, not running away, because when you're hiding or running away, you don't solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you are confronting it, it's I am scared of getting this product launch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to be on this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? To show my face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just confronting it and really recognize your limiting beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and work through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's important. That's a great great milestone to achieve, Mandy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Joraine?
Yes, my turn. Okay. Is it the same question?
It's the same question. Do you want me to repeat?
Sure.
What were the biggest challenge that you have faced and overcame in your life?
So I probably have quite a few. Like Mandy had said, she said failure is a friend and a teaching lesson. And I always feel that looking back at the times that I was either afraid to pursue something new, it was always a risk at the time, but it always either taught me a lesson or I reaped big rewards, right? So for me, I am a first generation immigrant as well. I was born in the Philippines and I moved to the United States when I was very young, and was raised in the Bay Area my whole life. But, my parents didn't have a lot of money. So growing up, my work ethic was everything that I ever earned or had, it was something that I had to work for. And so even at a very young age, I got married to my husband at 18, and I became a mom at a very young age. And while a lot of people were going to college and partying and just figuring out their path as young adults, and I was already a mom and a wife, and we weren't living at home, and we already had our own apartment and were working full-time jobs, my husband and I at the time. And so from a very young age, we had to kind of circumvent or overcome a lot of obstacles that a lot of people don't. And so even just learning how to be a mother and a wife, and getting started into real estate at that time. And I mean, I was even scheduled to, I was enlisted in the Air Force before 9/11, and my ship off date was 9/11. And I found out that I was pregnant with my first son, and so I ended up not going to the Air Force, and just a lot of different things in my life happening, but that all eventually builds up to our story of what makes us great and unique, and it creates these opportunities for us in our life to be amazing. Another time that I remember really big was I was, kind of on that path of thinking about whether I'm going to branch out on my own and start my own real estate team. I was on a team at the time, but I was in that space of, fear and not having confidence in myself and having to rebrand as a new agent and forming my own team, and everything was new and scary. And that was the call that I received from my husband. I was at a real estate conference, and he calls me that day and he says, "Oh, I got let go of my position." And that I had 0 real estate sales year to date that year. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I have just invested in this real estate opportunity." And I was joining coaching. And that was kind of a, turning moment for me, because I could have easily just went back to knowing what I knew and doing what I was used to out of fear that, oh my gosh, we're not going to have money. But I said, no, I can do this. Like, I'm just going to move forward. And I haven't looked back since, and it's been amazing. And that was just one of those defining moments that I remember, that I said, it's either fight or flight. I'm either going to go back and just be mediocre and figure out how to get by, or I'm going to do something different and really stretch myself and believe in myself and achieve something awesome, which is what we've done so far. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Anita, what do you know now that you wish you knew 5 or 10 years ago?
That it will all be okay. Going back to what Joraine and Mandy have been talking about, we are brought up to be so against failure and seeing failure as something that is personal, attack on ourselves. But, every hurdle really just makes us stronger, even if it meant that we took the wrong path. That just opens up the doors to other paths, and for us to figuring out how to make it work. It's hard to start your own business. It's hard to change careers. Everything is new. We can only read about it and model what other people do. But, when you're actually doing it yourself, exactly what you were saying, Kimchi, riding that roller coaster of like, oh, I think I'm doing great. And then, at a drop of a dime, it's like, okay, everything I believed in is completely out the door. But we're all brilliant people, and we all make it work somehow. So whatever felt like was the end of the world, means that we've survived it. So we've survived every single upset, every single failure, every hiccup, every hurdle in our life, and we're still sitting here doing what we're doing. So it'll be okay. At the end of the day, we will make it work.
That is very soothing to hear that. It will be okay.
Yes.
At the end of the day, everything will be okay.
Right.
Remember that.
Yes.
And pat on your shoulder or your back,
that's,
right?
That's the esthetician way of doing it. That touch is it will be okay.
Yeah, or give yourself a hug, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Being kind to yourself is so, so important. I think we forget that. We try so hard to be kind to everybody else, but the most important person is yourself to be kind to.
Absolutely. Be kind to yourself. That's a great reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Mandy?
Well, I absolutely agree with everything that Anita and Joraine have been saying. And in terms of what I would wish I knew or would tell myself, 5 or 10 years ago, because I did spend most of my career in corporate world. I guess I would say to remember to invest in myself, even though I am kind of lending my time and my mind to my employer. It's important to, have my own goals in mind and remember, where I want to be in life. Because I think that when you are working for someone else, it's so easy to kind of get lost in that corporate grind, daily, all the meetings that have to happen, like all the projects, deadlines, everything that comes up, and just to not get lost in that and to be able to see the big picture for yourself, because you have to be looking out for yourself, because your company is not going to be doing that for you.
Great reminder. Yes, Mandy, it's absolutely. I think from the beginning of my career, I work in that, the computer science, the computer industry, the high tech industry for about 15 years. And yeah, I keep, at the beginning, I did not really focus in investing in myself. Right, it's just like, okay, go to take more courses so that I can do better at my job, but not like it's taking a skill that would save my life, right?
Mhm.
So invest in yourself is very, very good, and have be clear about your goals. What's your ultimate goals here? Not
Mhm.
working as an engineer, not yeah, it's the end result, the all goals is bigger
Mhm.
than what we're trying to do,
Mhm.
right? And ultimately the end goal is to be happy and fulfilled as a
Right.
human being,
Mhm.
experience what we have given,
Mhm.
right? How do you do that? You need to figure that out.
Mhm.
What, how, what you resonate with, what your value is, and then choose the career that align to that values and what you want.
Yeah, because time really is our most precious resource, right? There's no amount of money that can ever buy more time. And it's just really important to remember what you care about. And I feel like for most of us, it's, our family, right? Like having a meaning to life. And it's very important to not lose sight of that while you're trying to work hard to provide for your family.
That's critical. It's so important, and that's what I try to reminding remind my clients and other people out there when they are hustle. All of you are come from the hustle network, right? And I told myself, so I'm no longer hustle. I'm just like, walking slowly and observing, you know, do what I want to do.
Mhm.
But hustling is too much stress for me, and I've been there. I have done
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
um, but keep in mind what's your top priority is
Mhm.
your family, is your relationship, is your health. It's not another house, it's not another car,
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
yeah, it's not like 6 or 7 digit
Mhm.
of money in the bank,
Right,
right?
like understanding what your enough point is very important, and of course gratitude for everything that you have, because being in the States, we already are more fortunate than so much of the other parts of the world.
Great point, thank you, Joraine. All right, so the question is, what do you know now that you wish you knew 5 or 10 years ago?
So I am so in agreement with everything that everyone else has said in terms of, remembering our purpose, coming from a place of gratitude. I would probably say, at least for me, something that I've learned just kind of with the swings and the ups and downs of even real estate and being in a successful place is having balance. And I think Anita touched on that earlier is, and Mandy said, when is enough enough? And because, the Bible says, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and suffers the loss of his soul, right? And so what I found is that I was working so much and I wouldn't even see my family, yet I was working for my family to provide for them, but I couldn't spend time with them. And so for me, it would definitely be balanced and kind of just all of those things that everyone already said. I start my day every day journaling. And so I write, 10 things that I'm grateful for, 10 goals that I want to achieve, kind of what are some of my big goals that I want to accomplish that day. And even something as simple as scheduling date night with my husband or scheduling a massage, we try to incorporate that. And having like family movie nights and things. So we do work hard. Like we were awake at 3 a.m., but we're going to spend time with the kids later on at night. And so for us, it's definitely just all of those things and achieving balance.
So wonderful. Thank you. What's your personal motto and why it is important to you? Anita?
So my personal motto ties into everything that we just talked about is to achieve success in anything that we do is to achieve balance. So we can hustle, like you said, we can get, the $10 million house. We can, be the Olympic athlete. There's many measures of achievement. But to me, success is more than just excelling in one aspect of our life. But it is being able to be a great business owner or be a great executive at whichever company you work for. But at the same time, being healthy, and being able to have time for your loved ones and being able to really enjoy life because we only have this one time, one shot, and be it that you want to start a family or not start a family, nowadays everybody has different goals, but being true to understanding what you want and achieving all of that. So, yes, $10 million seems amazing, but if you're living in it by yourself and not having those around you to share that with, or if you don't have the health to enjoy it, that's not successful to me. So, so really to achieve success in anything, of course, do our best, and then try to create that balance so that we can live life and enjoy it. That's ultimately what it's all about, right? So that we can enjoy this time we have here with the people we love, of course.
That's a wonderful quote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mandy?
So I think that the biggest risk is not taking one, and I'd rather try and fail and then pick myself up and do it again than be on my deathbed full of regrets. That's my motto because, I've just reached a point throughout my journey that I don't want to always wonder, right? Like when I was sitting on like the corporate side of the world and just like wonder, oh, what would it be like if I started my own business? And, I wonder what it would be like to do this and that and the other. And, really take advantage of the time that I have now to do it instead of just, sitting on the sidelines and thinking about all the what ifs.
It's endless. What ifs? Joraine?
Yeah, so a quote that I have written on my wall at the office is a quote by Aristotle, and it's, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And so that's something I tell my team members all the time. I say our standard is excellence. If we're going to be great at something, we're going to be consistent and, treat all our clients the same, whether they're buying a $200,000 mobile home or a $2 million, home in Palo Alto. And so that's something that I adopted for my business and my team, but it also kind of goes into my personal life as well. And that's, being a mom and a wife. It's not just something that you do one time and all of a sudden you're a great mom. or a great wife. It's something that you have to focus on. And it's those small habits that we do over a period of time that create who we are. And so that's something that I live by and I try to remember, because they say, the small things are small things until you look back and realize that they were the big moments.
I love it. The small thing is the small thing until you realize that's a big moment. That could be your quote, right?
Yes, I guess I'll write that down now.
All right, put that down because I'm using that for your quote, okay? So what is your proudest moment to date, Anita?
My proudest moment to date would be my business and the team that I've cultivated, and the being grateful for the people that I have around me. It's really, I could not have done what I'm doing today without the network and the family and the team members that I have. It's very difficult to do a one-man show. I wish not to do that. And I was very just grateful for the help that I got. So, and going back to what Joraine said, her quote was beautiful. At the moment when you are just asking for a favor, which is very hard for us women to do, and to accept the help. When you look back, you realize, how did I get here? And it was just by the boost of everybody's hand. So that one moment seems so small of, oh, can you, run to do this errand for me? But when you look back, it really was a big moment, because that's what brought us to where we're at. So, so that's what I'm most proud of is the family and the network that I have around me.
It's wonderful. Mandy?
So my proudest moment today, I would say, was being able to put myself in a position where I was able to choose to forego my maternity leave when I reached a point at 6 months pregnant. I knew that I wouldn't want to come back to work because being pregnant was really a life-changing experience in so many ways, but it just got me to think a lot about my life and where I wanted to go, and how what kind of mom I wanted to be and how much time I would be able to spend with my daughter. So very proud of the fact that because I'm super risk averse from that first generation immigrant mentality, I've always been very frugal, good investor and saver. So I was able to crunch the numbers and make it work, so that I was able to choose to not stay at a job that I didn't see myself coming back to, and being able to say, like, 12 weeks or whatever it would have been of paid leave and all that would have been great, but I think my time would be better spent doing something else instead.
How old's your baby now, Mandy?
She is 8 months old.
8 months old, okay. Last night I watched a documentary series. The title is Babies. I highly, highly recommend new parents to watch it. It's like, it blew my mind. Okay.
What was it about?
It's about babies.
What about?
It's basically it's about how baby learns and how baby develop their personality, right? Their own beliefs. As a coach, I learned that. I said, oh yeah, we, who we are and our belief system is, we are adopted from our parents and our ancestor and the environment, right? But in that documentary, I just watched only the second session. It's the second episode so far, but I think there's 5 or 6 episodes. I'm going to watch it again because I love to learn how we become who we are, really. And they learn that by observing the baby from the infant, like when the baby is born, till 1 year old or something like that, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I thought of that. I say, wow, if I had this information before, I would be I would not say a better mom, but I would treat my children better.
Mhm.
Okay, because I know that there's certain things that I taught my kids
Mhm.
from the scarcity, from what I've learned in our Asian culture, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to spoil my kids, right?
Mhm.
Because I thought, oh, spoiling is it's not helpful.
Mhm.
But then anyway, that's another
That's a
another
very
podcast.
very interesting
That's
topic on its own.
yes. I'm gonna create another podcast, solo podcast, to really reflect on my action and how I raise my children.
Mhm.
And there are quite a few lessons to be learned there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I think we all have very good intentions, and it's just unintended consequences that we may not have foreseen. So yeah, I've already learned like babies are just so smart, and I'm super impressed. So yeah, I would definitely check out that documentary.
Check that out.
Thank you.
And maybe later on listen to my episode about
Yeah,
babies.
absolutely.
All right, Joraine, what is your proudest moment to date?
So, my proudest moment is actually not even real estate related. To date, kind of something I'm experiencing right now is just seeing my husband step into his role as being a realtor and coming into his own and being a team member, because I feel like that also kind of reflects on how well I've done in training him the past few years and just seeing him do so well. And just having kids who are such great people and who are kind, even though I'm overworked and don't spend enough time with them. And so I just look at my husband and my kids as such a big accomplishment, because I must have done something right amidst all the hustling and all the mistakes and things. So
Yeah, I this this reveal a bad side of me. A long time ago, before I named this podcast Asian Women of Power, at the beginning I had another idea, and I named it um, How to Train Your Husband.
oh
And I asked my siblings, and and my brother-in-law said, he didn't like it, but he didn't dare to say that's a bad title. But it startled other people, other men. I said, wow, that's very strong. How to Train Your Husband. Whoa, okay. So that they must think that, oh, women, Asian women are too strong, too manipulative, or too controlling. But then I shifted. I said, okay, it's not about training, because they are not pet. They're not they're not dog, they're not pet, right? But I thought it's as basically how to influence them, right? Because the way you are, the way how you behave, will have some kind of influence, power. You influence your children to do certain thing. You influence your spouse certain thing. Some, they might not listen, but they will observe. They see. They will do what you do. They don't do what you tell
right,
them to do. They don't do what you say, but they do what you do. So kudos to you, right? It's basically that's your power of influencing your husband, to turn him to become a better person, the better husband, the one who's taking initiative, who open for ideas and option and new things to do. Right? That's I think that's the woman's power, hidden power, that most of us don't recognize. That we have a lot of power. It's influencing is the beauty, the gem,
right,
if you can find it.
right.
Because we touch everybody, we touch our children, right? It's a mother relationship. We have a lot of power to influence our children. And as the spouse, a husband, we do have a lot of power to influence him.
Right.
A positive way. I'm talking about a positive way. I'm not talking about controlling or manipulating. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like, with me and my team, it's like I want to build my team up to be the best that they can be in their own right. So building them up to be great leaders or experts in their field. And like I mentioned about my humble beginnings and starting early on, I observed the type of agent that I wanted to be, or I knew that I didn't want to be. Like I said, I want to be like them and I don't want to be like them. And so I feel like every person that we interact with, even on a daily basis, for the 5 seconds or 10 seconds or however long that we are interacting with them or they know us, they're either observing, I like that person, I want to be like them, or I don't like that person, I don't want to be like them. So,
yeah. So 3 things that you suggest artists to do or to begin if they want to follow your footsteps. Anita?
Yes, can do. So actually, before I answer that, I wanted to just share a little bit that I wanted to publish an article that said, train your husband or significant other to remove your makeup at nighttime. Because in skincare, removing your makeup is the foundation of good skincare. So I was blessed to have many significant others and boyfriends to remove my makeup at nighttime when I fell asleep before I wanted to. So, so that could have been a good title. But three things that to suggest if they want to get into what I want to get into. Education is number one. Getting your license obviously is a must do, but really I started off as front desk at a spa. I knew that if I wanted to be in an industry, I just have to be around it. I have to hear it. I have to breathe it. I have to live it. So, don't care if you're not in the treatment room. Just being in the industry, just starting from the bottom so that you know what that looks like and what that sounds like. And getting that experience, and people are always willing to share. So when you're around it, you learn it, the good and the bad, and then you can decide on which path you want to take and how you want to perfect your own specialty. So that's the number one thing. And one of the things in the beginning, learning to have a team and managing, that was a whole different ball game and a learning curve for myself. But just being open to how others do it, and then you can create your own. So that's definitely one thing that's very, very important. Two is exactly what Mandy said. Just jump in. There's so many risks. It looks very scary. You see other people do it and you think, oh my God, how do they do that? And, why can't I do it? But you don't know until you actually just jump in and do it. You might think that this is your biggest dream that you've ever wanted. And the moment you take one step in, you realize, oh, it's completely not what I want to do, but you won't know until you actually jump in. So that's part of the process. So believe in the process. Believe in every step that you take. That's number two. And number three, really love what you're doing. Believe in others, support others, remind yourself of what your purpose is, why you started this to begin with, and from there, influence is so important. We can be the best of who we want to be, but without influencing others and supporting them in their growth, what does it all mean? So that's number three is to survive in the beauty industry and to start your own business. Just love it. Hire good people for things that you're not good at. That's my biggest thing that I had to learn, and I'm grateful for that, is just what I'm not good at, just hire. That's okay to do.
Mandy?
Yeah, I loved everything that Anita just said. Such good tips. So for me, very similar to one of Anita's points is, believe in yourself and give yourself permission is the first step, right? Like you can't, if you want to pursue entrepreneurship in your own business, you can't wait around for someone to be like, okay, you're ready. Because, like Anita said, you're never really ready and you just don't know what's going to happen until you actually do it. And you have to be the person to trust yourself that you've got this, you know how to solve problems. You'll figure out how to put out fires if you have to. That would be first thing. Second thing for me, being, super risk averse. I recommend everyone to get your finances in order before you, try to quit your job and then do something completely different. You know, you're already taking on a lot of risk by trying to make, a jump. So I like to minimize and manage my risk. So, being able to have, a calculated runway for, how long you're going to be able to sustain yourself, in case like money's not coming through the door anymore. Doing the math and crunching the numbers is very, very important, highly recommended, because you're already stressed out enough, when you're trying to start your own business. So, try to take as much stress, external stress, away from what you're already trying to manage. And then number 3, I would say that, I'd recommend, for people to kind of understand what they want from this life. And, similar to what Anita said, have a purpose, right? I like Jeff Bezos' regret minimalization framework, where he says that, he decided to pursue Amazon because he thought of himself as an 80-year-old, on his deathbed, and just kind of all the things that he would regret if he didn't, try. So thinking ahead and trying to see the big picture is important, and just, working backwards to see, what you really want out of this life, I think would be very beneficial for everyone to do.
Joraine, 3 things that you suggest others to do to begin if people want to follow your footsteps.
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is to get a mentor. Like Anita said, just being immersed in the industry is definitely an eye-opener for some people. And even after you get your license, a lot of agents go into real estate not knowing what to do, developing bad habits. And I think the statistics are that 85 to 90% of newly licensed agents quit or fail within the first 5 years of getting their license. And so definitely getting a mentor or being on a team or having a team leader or a coach that can help you figure out what you need to do and hold you accountable. Number 2, I would say figure out your why, right? Just figuring out your purpose, knowing why you're waking up every day, because every day is not going to be butterflies and roses. There are going to be hard times, failures, disappointments, especially with being an entrepreneur, or if you're growing your team, there will be failure. And like Anita said, just hiring people and managing, there's so many different aspects of it. And so definitely figuring out your purpose and your why and holding on to that, so that when it's not easy, you can still get up every day and do what you need to do. And the third thing I would say is to actually act it out and take action, because having a mentor and having a great mindset is wonderful, but unless you're actually walking out what you said you would do or what you've committed to do, then you're not going to see those results. So those are my 3.
That's wonderful. Combining all of your suggestions. That's a multi-million dollars lessons here. All right. So how can people reach each of you? Anita?
So you can definitely find me on my website, anitabspa.com, but of course, social media at Anita B Spa, or my personal at Anita B Beauty. So definitely feel free to reach out, DM. I'm more than happy to share and help, even if it's somebody from across the world and it's completely different business. It's really the network and the culture is so important. So
thank you. Mandy?
Yeah, you can find me and Goboba Green at gobobagreen.com, and on Instagram at Goboba Green, or my personal Instagram at Mandy C Yeung, and I'm also on LinkedIn at Mandy Yeung. So definitely would love to connect with anyone that's going through a similar journey that would love to bounce ideas back off of.
Thank you. Joraine?
And I am on Instagram and Facebook at Joraine Sells Homes. So you can find me on there, or you can Google Joraine Sells Homes or the Costales team, and you'll see a bunch of our videos, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, website, YouTube, everywhere. So
Well, thank you so much for you to be here, Anita, Mandy, and Joraine. Well, that's it for today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please share with your friends and family members and also on social media. Use hashtag Asian Women of Power. Until next time, live life loud.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Asian Women of Power podcast. We encourage you to apply what you've learned here today to make your life a little bit better every day. For more tips, tools, practical ideas, and conversations around a business, life, and relationships so that you too can live life loud, we invite you to join the Asian Women of Power Facebook group at www.joinasianwomenofpower.com.